Hey everybody, hopefully everybody's doing okay. I'm doing well, and this is going to be part 2 of our Onomatopoeia project, which is just coloring in your drawing from the part 1 from last week. So I'm just going to get right to it of all the things that you're going to need. So you're going to need your previous drawing from part 1 and just some coloring supplies, whatever that you have around. I use a combination of markers and colored pencil for mine. I use my Sharpies. I didn't want to waste my other Crayola markers. I have some Sharpies which are a little bit bolder and brighter in color, easier to see, and I just wanted a better collection of colors. I actually have more Sharpie colors than I do with my Crayola, and then I have colored pencil in there just to add in a little bit of extra things such as value. I wanted to put value in mine, and you can't do that with marker. So you can mix and match as much as you want. I stayed away from crayons because I knew that there was going to be some tight corners and smaller areas to work with, and the crayons just don't seem to be that great for anything that's quite small. So I went with these two items here. So as you remember, I had my drawing from last time, and I did oops. I also did pop. As you can see in the document, that's the one that I worked on as well to show color. So I want to get right into it and just describe to you about what's going to be done for this project. So with your coloring supplies, I have some notes in there about what you would like to do. When you begin coloring, especially your lettering, you want to make sure that you use one color for the letters. You want it to be unique, and you don't want like green, yellow, blue, purple, red. You want red, 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 red. All right? Or else the exclamation point, you could do a different color if you wish, because it's technically not a letter. But at the same time, I want my letters to be using the same color. And I want to make sure that the color I choose for my lettering, I don't really want to use anywhere else. I want my letters to be, to stand out, be very easy to read, and to be quite unique and kind of separate from everything else. If I were to do my lettering in red, I want to make sure I stay away from using red anywhere else. That's generally what they did in the animations and comics as well. All right, so I put a little border around here, so if I wanted to, I could do the lettering in one color, and then this little border around the outside and on like the inside of the letter O and the letter P, and then inside the S, I could use a totally different color. But again, whatever color I'd want to use in that border, I want to make sure I don't use anyplace else. So that's one thing to watch out for. Okay? The bubble. The bubble also needs color. I pick a different color that is not in your lettering. So you might want to plan this out a little bit ahead of time. The bubble would need a color. And normally, if it's kind of open like mine right here, I'd probably want to use the same color for the whole thing. But as you can see in my pop, the one I did for pop, I used several different blues because my lettering kind of cut off the background. Like this is one big section right here. But then I have these other little sections there. So if you wanted to use a different color in there, but of the same family, like light green, dark green, medium green, and then some other type of green, you could do that. Okay? But you want the bubble to be colored in as well. Now, you get a little bit different when you start to get things like this. And here's one of the examples that I have. All right? This example that I'm looking at is like a cloud. And I told that some of you could do like this speech bubble type thing. Now, if you wanted to do this speech bubble item, and you might say, well, Mr. Johnson, I don't want to color that in. I want to leave it white. Well, here's the trade-off. If you color in your bubble, then the background, most of the background can be left white. I'm okay with that. With the exception of if you want to draw like some streaks, as you can see in a couple of the examples in the document, there's like these rays, these lines that are coming away from the word. They're just sprayed out like this way. You can color in the streaks and then leave the area in between white. You don't need to color that in. Now, if you are choosing to, say, leave the bubble white because it's a cloud, well, okay. Then if you're going to be allowed to keep that white, then your background has to be fully colored in. We need to have a trade-off here. You cannot leave the bubble white and most of the background white because you're getting out of doing a lot of coloring that I'm asking all the students to do. I do not have a cloud-like bubble. It's a pointy one like this. So I would color this thing in. And then in the background, you might do a series of like smaller dots and spread them around like circles. You could also do the rays. Some friends would say, can I do like stars or hearts around it? That's okay. But you want to leave the most of it blank and empty. And I will show you mine in just a moment, my finished one that says pop on it. So there's all sorts of ones here. So this is kind of like the round speech bubble, or like an actual cloud. This is kind of a pointy, sharp bubble. And I like to do that for mine to really capture that look of the word. Now, after you decide on what colors you're going to do, and you start coloring it in, make sure you take your time, because this project is all about accuracy and making sure that you're staying inside the lines. All right, you don't want to stray outside, because even in a comic book, everything has got to be precise and accurate, because that's a book that, you know, a lot of people are going to read, and a lot of readers will call out the publisher of the book, the comic book, saying, hey, you know, could you do a little bit better job with your animations and your comics here? You know, make it look really nice and clean. So I want you guys to take that same mindset and make this look really nice and clean. And you want to choose colors that pop. All right, you want to use your brightest colors that you can. You really want this to stand out, and that's what they tend to use, is a lot of reds, pinks, oranges, yellows, and then for the things that are in the background, they use the opposite color to bring the words out. So you can choose what you want for your color. All right, get some of these out of the way. Again, there's just some few examples of those words, and I have like some of the lines that you'll see in mine. So there's my oops right there. So I'm going to move this out of the way. I'm going to show you my pop. There's my finished pop. I really like this one. It did take a bit of time to get just right, and I'll go over it just a little bit with you guys. Right in the background, I'll start with the background and work my way in. The background, I just did these circle dots, and what I did was I just took a cap from an item that I have in my classroom to make sure that I got the circle right. So I did part of one here, a full one here, part of one there because it's off the page, and then this same one that I have part of one on the paper, I did kind of the same effect. Kind of balances itself out. And then I did these rays right here in teal. But look how much I left white. That's okay. That's fine to do because my bubble's fully colored in. I did these little streaks on the edge of my bubble. As you can see, like I took the same idea from one of these. I put like these little streaks around the outside. And then my inside of my pointy bubble right here, I did several different colors of blue. So every time a part got kind of chopped off by a letter or it's a different section, I used a different color. So inside of the letters, around here, up there, and across the bottom, I used different. So I did this dark to light looking effect just to put something different in there. I wanted to try it differently. All right, then I got to my lettering. And my lettering was actually the first thing I colored in. I was so set on using a bright color, so I chose orange for the POP, and then inside of like the little highlights, I put yellow. Then for my exclamation point, I actually did the opposite. I did yellow, and then my little highlight, I put orange. And then I got like even the bottom of the dot of the exclamation point, like popping like right there as well. So the coloring part was actually a lot of fun, but I did have to go slow and steady because I did not want my marker going into any place where I would have colored pencil, because that's what I planned to do. So outlining it and making sure it's outlined in black is excellent. And that's what they would have done in comic books. So make sure that before you color this in, have it outlined with black. Either a black marker or a Sharpie works best. If you use black colored pencil, there's a chance that it smudges. Sharpie won't smudge. It's permanent. It stays where you put it. All right? So you can use a combination of marker or colored pencil. You can stick with just colored pencil. You can stick with marker. But again, no sloppy coloring. I've already talked about this with the Skylines project, is to make sure that you do your best. I only want your best. If I'm asking you to do one part, which should take you less than an hour, probably about 30 to 40 minutes to do, which is a standard art class, I want to make sure that you're giving me your best. So none of this half-hearted coloring, sloppy, not colored to the edges, or you're going way outside of your lines. Take your time. I really want this one to stand out. I've been trying to find a way to get this project to you guys because it's large, it's colorful, and you get to customize it how you want. So please make sure that when you go through and you color it, you do your absolute best and take your time. This comes out on a Wednesday. It does not have to be done that same day. You can work a little bit Wednesday, then come back to it on Friday and work on it, and then Saturday finish it, take your picture, put it on Seesaw, and I will get it. If you get done on Wednesday or Saturday, it does not matter. I just want to make sure you're doing your best. So take your time and make this one look good. Okay? So, again, to remind you guys, if you're going to make sure that you pick colors for your lettering that stands out, and whatever you use for your lettering, don't use anywhere else. Coloring in the bubble, which I did, means that most of the outside should be left empty. If you are going to leave the bubble white, which I would recommend not doing, even if you have the cloud looking style like this, I would still color it in with a light gray or a yellow or something, purple maybe, I don't know, but I would not leave it white. White just shows laziness of I didn't want to color it. But if you want to, if you draw it and you got your heart set on leaving it white, then your entire background has to be filled with color. So if you do these rays and these dots similar to what I did, then if you leave the bubble white, then all of this empty area in the background must be colored in. There is a trade-off. You can't leave the bubble white and the background white. You are getting out of doing the work I am asking you to complete. Okay? So this is my example. I really love this because I love doing projects with lettering. I really hope that you did too. And if you don't like the one that you have, you may start it over and you can continue. You can jump right to part 2 after you have it drawn. Make sure to take a picture, send it to me on Seesaw. I want to see what it looks like. I'm really excited for this one. So again, take your time coloring, decide what you want, look at the document. I have a bunch of ideas and examples there that you can use, and just go from there. Also, if you type in onomatopoeia into Google and hit images, you're going to find a lot of examples about what to do as well. So if you don't have any, if the ideas I have aren't good enough for you, hit Google, go to images, and type in onomatopoeia, and then you'll have a ton of ideas pop up for you. So that's this week's project, is to take part 1 of the onomatopoeia project, the word, and get your color going on this. So accuracy, color choice, color style, staying in the lines, all of that is greatly important for this. So take your time, do your best work. I can't wait to see what you guys have. Send it to me when you are done, and good luck and have fun.